Here comes our compilation of B-Movies recommendations. In this Halloween special, we talk about 15 horror movies and their curiosities to enjoy terrifyingly the B-side of cinema. First of all, we bring you the 1971 film The Werewolf vs. Vampire Woman, directed by Leon Klimovsky. This film includes all the cliches of the genre, mixing the theme of werewolves and vampires, all surrounded by a certain erotic atmosphere. It is the fourth installment of a cult saga, where we find Frankenstein's bloody terror, Curse of the Devil, and the return of the werewolf, the essential quartet of films that Nashi starred in as Waldemar. All of them ideal for a Halloween of good cinema. Part of this film was shot in the old tuberculosis hospital of Navacerrada, now disappeared, located in the valley of La Barranca, Spain. The title is based on Walpurgis Night, the Night of the Witches, a pagan festival celebrated in Central and Northern European countries. I Walked with a Zombie, Jacques Tourneur's classic Without Measure, meets producer Val Lewton for the second time, just 2 months after completing Cat People. Zombies, horror, voodoo, and a heavy dose of B-movie makes this film a marvel to watch now and forever. But the best thing about I Walked with a Zombie is that, despite the insistence of the title, there are no zombies in it. The whole of the Evil Dead saga, essential. It all started with Evil Dead, a cult film ahead of its time. This first film introduces the main character of the saga, Ash Williams. Legendary horror author Stephen King saw it, fell in love with it, and championed it so much that he wrote an amazing review, naming it his 9th favorite horror film of all time. King's surprise endorsement helped the minuscule film gain media attention and gain the recognition it deserved. House on Haunted Hill, a deluxe B-movie directed by the great William Castle in 1959. The director was known for his ability to create immersive cinematic experiences to increase tension and fear in the audience. He devised the Emergo system, a black box from which a 3-meter skeleton flew around the cinema at key moments in the movie. To promote the film, this great marketing visionary created death cards for each attendee at the screening of his movie. I Bought a Vampire Motorcycle is a 1990 film, unique in its mix of black humor and gory horror genres. An unusual vampire film with many touches of English humor. It's hard to believe that it comes from England, as the film exudes an American feel through its characters and locations. The idea was written by 2 scriptwriters from Central Television in the UK, and they were inspired by the film The Evil Dead, directed by Dirk Campbell, who almost exclusively directs children's series such as In the Night Garden, Rocket's Island, and Winnie the Pooh's Friendship Tales. These children's series won the British Academy Television Award. In some countries, the film I Bought a Vampire Motorcycle was never released in cinemas and went straight to the video market. It is clear that Dirk Campbell was not meant to be a B-movie maker. This was his first and last film in this genre. Dracula, the 1931 American horror classic directed by Todd Browning. Until now, viewers had only been able to see this story in the cinema thanks to Nosferatu, a 1922 silent film by Murnau. Dracula was previously intended to star Lon Chaney, but he died and was eventually replaced by the great Bela Lugosi. And this actor was a strange figure in the film industry. He came to love the character he played so much that he died believing he was Count Dracula.
I am Dracula.
From this film onwards, Bela Lugosi's gaze became the true symbol of horror in cinema. We take out of the boot Black Sabbath, an Italian horror film directed by Mario Bava in 1963. This director represents the giallo film subgenre. In Italy, it was called The Three Faces of Fear, but all over the world it was known as Black Sabbath. In addition, the film has 2 versions, an Italian and an American version, which are considerably different. Black Sabbath is a macabre anthology consisting of 3 tales of terror, with women threatened by mysterious phone calls, vampires in the Russian steppes, and bloody revenge. The film is divided into 3 episodes entitled The Telephone, The Wordalax, and The Drop of Water. Thanks to this film, in August 1969, a hard blues rock band called Earth saw that the film was being shown in the cinema near the hall where they were rehearsing. Influenced by the film, they changed the name of their band as they felt that the atmosphere of this film was in keeping with the sound and aesthetics they wanted to have. This band were and are the mythical Black Sabbath, pioneers of heavy metal. 1968's Night of the Living Dead was made with an insignificant budget. It is Romero's debut feature and is cult film today. The shooting lasted 9 months, and before giving it this title, the film was going to be titled Monster Flick. But the lawyers of the distribution company realized that there was a film with a similar title, and it was changed to Night of the Living Dead. When they made the change in the credits, they forgot to put the copyright, and it is still in the public domain today. Ice Cream Man is a 1995 comedy horror film produced and directed by Norman Apstein, who has directed over 100 adult films under the pseudonym Paul Norman. Ice Cream Man is the only film Norman Apstein made that is outside the adult film genre. From this genre, we point out Edward Penishand. This director for a while was into making freak films using prosthetics to simulate fake freaks. In this film, the director's wife at the time, Tori Wells, a well-known adult film actress, plays a short role in this film. Killer Klowns from Outer Space. The idea of the alien clowns comes from the Chiodo brothers, who wrote and directed the film in 1988. Their aim was to combine comedy and horror in an unusual and surprising context. The film was first conceived when Stephen Chiodo tried to think of the scariest thing he could. He thought of driving at night and seeing a clown in a passing car. Extraterrestrial clowns that look just like terrestrial clowns and come to Earth in a circus tent-shaped ship with a desire to kill humans. At Midnight, I'll Take Your Soul, 1964, a film directed by and starring José Mojica Marins, an icon of Brazilian B-movies. Mojica had invented a monster, his personal monster that was to accompany him throughout a saga with films such as This Night I'll Possess Your Corpse, 1967, The Strange World of Coffin Joe, 1968, Awakening of the Beast, 1970, and the very strange and relatively recent reboot, Devil's Reincarnation, 2008. Mojica Marin soon became a version of Bela Lugosi and Boris Karloff, whom he wanted to imitate. The character of Freddy Krueger is partly inspired by Mr. Zé do Caixão, and the nails he wears are real. Bad Taste was written and directed by Peter Jackson in 1987, who would later direct The Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit trilogies. The film began filming in 1981 as a 10-minute short film called Roast of the Day. There was no script for the film, which was developed according to the ideas the director came up with during the week. It was filmed in New Zealand on a budget of only $25,000. Jackson built his own Steadicam, which cost him only $15,000. It took him 4 years to film it, and he shot it on weekends. The loss of the tapes containing the original audio tracks forced Jackson to redo all the dialogue. The film was assisted by the New Zealand Film Commission in order to finish the film. After the Cannes Film Festival, it would get international distribution. The original poster for the film showed an alien with a raised middle finger, but in the US, the film was advertised with the alien gesturing in peace, and the film's logo is almost identical to that of the North American food chain Fatburger. Frank Henenlotter, director and screenwriter of Basket Case, found the inspiration for the film in his teenage memories of watching low-budget movies in New York's grindhouse theaters. The director imagined a monster inside a basket that jumped on people who opened it. While sitting in a hot dog stand on a Times Square street, the first sketch of Basket Case was born. Both the general idea for the film and some of the dialogue were written on used napkins. Basket Case was originally conceived as more gore, but the first distributor decided to make some cuts to present it as a comedy. So it was later released in theaters with the subtitle The Full Uncut Version. TerrorVision was directed by Ted Nicolau in 1986, who also directed other low-budget horror films such as The Dungeon Master, 1984, and the four-part Subspecies Saga. The film's poster was created and distributed before the screenplay was even written. Produced by Empire Pictures, the film's name is a play on the words television and horror. The film was shot in Los Angeles, California. Although the blood is replaced with green slime, the film was given an R rating. It received mixed reviews from audiences, was a box office flop, but is a film that became a cult film. BrainDead is a comedy horror film directed by Peter Jackson and released in 1992. The film was titled BrainDead in most countries, but in the United States, it was released under the title Dead Alive, because there was already another film with the same name. It is known for its extreme level of violence and gore. In fact, the film holds the Guinness World Record for the bloodiest scene in the history of cinema. During the filming, approximately 30,000 liters of fake blood were used. These have been the 15 films recommended by B-Movies Curiosities. And in this special compilation, we are already terrifyingly dead